Have you ever felt more alone standing next to someone than you do when you're actually by yourself? Imagine this. It's 11:47 p.m. You're lying next to your partner. The room is dark. The only light is coming from their phone screen. It's one thing to be single and wish for company. It's a completely different kind of ache to be in a marriage, sharing a bed, a mortgage, and a life, yet feeling like you're invisible. You're physically together, but emotionally miles apart. You fall asleep facing opposite sides of the bed, not because you're angry, just because it's easier. One of you is scrolling on their phone, the other is staring at the ceiling, wondering when the person they fell in love with became a stranger. Stick with me until the end. We're going to peel back the layers of why this happens, and I'll share one psychological shift that can change everything. The last reason we'll discuss is something most people mistake for just being tired, but it's actually the silent killer of intimacy. You do the dishes, you talk about the kids, you coordinate the schedule. On paper, you're a high-functioning team. But when was the last time you actually saw each other? Psychologists call this the routine trap, often linked to ego depletion. By the time you've navigated work, chores, and social obligations, your mental energy is spent. You have nothing left for emotional vulnerability. This is where you stop being lovers and start being roommates. You're coexisting in a functional marriage, but the emotional layer is starving. You feel lonely because your interactions have become purely transactional. You get a small win at work, a compliment from your boss, and instead of turning to your partner, you think, they won't really care. So you don't say anything. And another tiny thread of connection disappears. And here's the dangerous part. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. Have you ever had something important to say, but you swallowed it because it's not worth the fight? This creates cognitive dissonance. You tell yourself you're in a happy relationship, but your reality feels like a desert. To bridge that gap, you start to withdraw. You get home and think about telling them something that scared you today, but then you rehearse the conversation in your head and decide it's easier to stay quiet. This is emotional flooding in reverse. You're so afraid of the conflict or the disappointment that you shut down your emotional ports. You feel lonely because you've built a wall to protect yourself, not realizing that the wall also keeps out the person who is supposed to be your partner. Here's the part most people never realize. You probably think your partner knows exactly how lonely you feel. In psychology, this is the illusion of transparency. We overestimate how much others can read our mental state. You think your heavy sighs and quietness are screaming, "I need you." But to your partner, it might just look like you're grumpy or busy. Beneath the surface, there's a massive gap in attunement. When you say, "Look at this funny video," and they respond without looking up, that was a bid. When you ask, "How was your day?" and they shrug, that was a missed one. When you sit a little closer on the couch, and they don't move, that was another. You aren't just lonely. You feel rejected in slow motion. Marriage isn't a cure for loneliness. It's a mirror that reflects how connected we are to ourselves and each other. Feeling lonely while married doesn't mean your relationship is over. It means the emotional Wi-Fi is down. It means you've traded intimacy for efficiency. The first step out of that coldness is the hardest. Admitting to your partner without blame, "I miss you," even when you're right here. Which part of this hit home for you? Are you living in roommate syndrome, or have you stopped making bids for connection? Let's talk about it in the comments. Sometimes just seeing that others feel the same way is the first step toward feeling less alone. If this helped you understand your own heart a little better, hit that like button and subscribe to Helpful Psychology. Let's keep figuring this out together.